Hey guys. Hey Poppy and Adam. 624 Dudley. David Ian Sykes, g'day. Stuart, hello. Mark Osborne, g'day. Tea and Biscuits, hello. Queensland doesn't allow for daylight savings time, but nearby territories do. What I take from that is that Adam's living in a territory. Queensland's tropical, so people here are a bit dumb and they don't understand that daylight saving doesn't actually pay the curtains. So we get up at 4 a.m. when it's daylight and go to bed at 6. So there you go. James Speed, g'day. I've got nothing to talk about. I've already made a video this week. That's me. I'm done. Hey, thanks everyone for watching and sharing the video. Really appreciate the shout out and all that. It's getting a bit of traction, which is really awesome. I haven't had too many replies from all the creators I emailed, but most of them I think have gone and watched the video. So whether that happens or not, I don't know. Could be pretty good fun. If anyone's wondering what I'm talking about, I posted a few days early, actually. I wasn't going to post it till Saturday, and then I thought, no, I'll stuff it, I'll do it. I put it on as a unlisted video, and then DJ or someone got into me and said, well, I can't share that because it's unlisted. So I made it work, so the video's up. Everything's happening. It's all sort of, all systems go on that, so all full speed ahead. Pretty excited. Think of a project, make a video. I've got probably 20 projects that I could make. Got to narrow it down to one. Yeah, tool making seems to be pretty, tea and biscuits tool making seems to be a fairly universal sort of a thing. This one I think's got a pretty universal appeal because everyone needs cutting tools to make anything, so that's kind of awesome. Stephen Lang, g'day. And Kevin from Machine NZ, g'day. Peter Noddle, hello. Russ Knox, hello. All the good, all the important people. Who had a video this week? Oh gosh, who did I see a video from? I don't know. Got to put your hand up and says, hey, I made something. I'm pretty slack, to be honest, as far as watching YouTube goes at the moment. I've got lots happening. I seem to be working sort of 12 hours a day, 7 days a week, it feels like. Got that cupboard finished and delivered and all in place. Looks really good. What else? Don't know what else has happened here. Not very much. There's a sign there that I've been messing around with trying to improve because I really wasn't happy with it, so I spent a bit of time on that. If you're watching, Dan, you can take that with you when you go. If you turn up next weekend or next week or something, if we see you. Seem to have been on the phone since I got home, so that's all right though. It's good mates. Yeah, Dan put 2 videos out in one day. Don't sort of say too much about it. He thinks we'll expect it. We do. Good to see updates. Kimber's Alec, g'day. Yeah, I think everyone's got ideas. I've got a few good ideas. I started off with one idea, and then I made a list of all the cutting tools that I would need to actually to orchestrate that idea and make it work. And probably there's 10 videos there if you want to look at it like that. So that sort of gets out of hand pretty quickly. So if anyone wants any ideas, let me know. Poppy's giving away kittens. Message Wayne, hey Karen. Poppy's workshop, if you want a kitten. I'm pretty right for kittens, to be honest. I really don't know how they'd survive the shipping. And I'm sort of... There we go. It'd be difficult to make a cutting tool without cutting yourself with it. Knox, you do pretty well. You'll be fine. There's this flow chart that come from Bar Z Industrial. I've got a couple of them kicking around here. It's got a decimal equivalent for black and white measurements and metric measurements on the one side. UPS bag for the kitten. Yep. Put him on ice. But this flow chart's on the back, which is very useful. It says, I have a part that is broken or missing on my machine. Do I need the broken machine to make the part? Yes or no? If it's yes, can you borrow a machine locally to make the part? If it's no, are you capable of making the part? And do you know someone who can make the part for you? Do you have tooling and materials to make the part? Does the cost of tooling and materials exceed the cost of the part? Do you have time to make the part before the job is due? Is the part commonly available? And then it says, would it make a good YouTube video? Mind-numbingly boring or probably. So you either go buy one or go make a video. So that's where you're at with most things. So if you want to work out whether you want to buy one or make a video, that's a really good sort of honestly, that's a pretty good flow chart. Write to Bar Z Industrial, he'll probably send you a copy of it to print. Great guy, Stan. Summer Bash was last weekend. Really felt a bit left out not being there. Didn't even manage to look at the live stream though, even for a minute, and that was pretty crap because I felt like I worked most of the weekend, so I was not happy about that, but it wasn't an option to stay up all night watching the live stream and then function the next day, so I went to bed instead. So missed out on everything. Didn't even buy a raffle ticket. I got all this stuff out looking at Shopmade tools because I thought, well, might as well get some crap out and have a look at it. My chair's squeaking, sorry. For that video I made, I didn't really have much of a look at any of it. nice things. I don't know what I showed and what I didn't show now. Some things that I have here that no one ever sees, which is really got a nice cylinder square, little one that stands in Costco gave me. Speaking of which, it's really nice. It goes in its own little drawstring bag. It's a pretty nice thing. I think so. I see. I'm running out of things to actually talk about. I've got a solid rock machine sign bar, which is beautiful. Really tickety-boo, really. It's one of my favourite workshop tools. And it gets used occasionally, not as often as it should, but it does get used occasionally. I really want to, at some point, get onto my locomotive. That's changing the subject, but that's kind of where I'm at. I'd like to spend a bit of time on that at some point in the near future. But I don't know, it's a matter of getting it over here and cleaning it off and doing a few little jobs on it, I think. But there's 1,000 things first, 1,000 jobs. Welding bench is all going. It should get a gas bottle in the next little while, I hope. Actively shopping for a vehicle at the moment, so we'll see how that goes, but still looking around. No idea, really. I was thinking I'd like to buy a new van, but honestly, it's not going to happen. For a couple of reasons. One is 3 to 18 months waiting for whichever one you want. And two, they're too expensive. And three, they lose value when they leave the showroom. So probably there's going to be a second-hand something in my future, but I haven't got a clue what yet. I haven't really haven't come to a conclusion there. Hey, Paul. So really it's just a matter of spending my week getting around doing things. I've got a set of forward step extensions, foot peg extensions for a Hardy Sportster to do this coming weekend. So better get in and actually make a bit of a difference on that. So that's one of the jobs that needs doing. That's a paying job, so that's good. Got a clock that really needs some work. At some point, I really need to get in with the clock and actually spend some time and get that finished. So that's another fairly high priority job. What else? I don't know. I've got this hashtag thing all set up. So in case you're missed it out, it's Rough Cut 2022 is a hashtag. And upload day is the 1st of October. So you've got 3 months. 3 months and 1 day or something to actually make yourself a video and upload it to YouTube and schedule it for that day. So expect to see some awesome stuff out of all of you. The response on that's really good, so I'm really happy with that. So that way is basically an early grave, so cut that out. I've been asked by a few people if I'm going to make a clock, and the honest and correct answer is no. Clocks are hard work, and they're a skill set on their own. The issue being that I'm supposed to have some sort of qualification, and I do. I have a British Horological Institute. Now I'm about halfway through the intermediate grade before I got sick of it. So I do have a qualification there, and I've got an Australian trade and stuff. So probably I should know better than to just make a rough old clock that's going to run. In reality, I probably haven't got patience or time to do that. So you've got some pretty sort of big boots to fill if you're going to put clock repair videos on YouTube, and I just don't think I'm up to it. Hey, John Creasy, g'day. Is that plan to schedule it for the same time GMT? So that no, that's too much trouble, Matt. Just put it up on the same day. It doesn't matter. Way too much effort to schedule them for the same time. We tried that, and even the intelligent people mixed that up. So honestly, no. It's just way too much. Put it up when you usually post. Please your audience. And hopefully by the end of the day, you should be recommending a few more with the same theme. Dan's here. Dan had 2 videos last week. Don't know whether to laugh or cry about that. But he's got a roof on the sawmill, which is awesome. Pretty exciting. I believe there's room for a steamroller or a traction engine in the shed as well. So watch Dan's videos for more updates on that. Could be very exciting. He might just build a railway instead. Cutting tool videos can be anything. You got a sawmill to restore, or you got a 1,000 things that come under the bandwidth of cutting tools. Make anything, but make a video. Yeah, marina gauge railways, a bit of an issue. I might get a short end to end here or somewhere. I don't know even if I'm stopping here. It's a bit difficult, really. So I don't really want to talk about the property situation here at the moment because it's a bit sort of all over the place, and at some point we will kind of, I guess, have a think about that, but it's not going to be this week. I'm in denial about it at this point. If anyone's waiting for a big announcement on that, it's not going to happen tonight. What else? But current thing is to get a vehicle. I haven't had a car for quite some time, and need to get all that sorted. So it's going to be a sooner rather than later thing. We'll see how I go this week. What else? Don't know. What else? What's everyone else up to? Stephen Lang told me he went to an auction instead of the Summer Bash, so I'm not sure what he bought, but I'm sure it was lots of good stuff, so should watch his videos and just see what he's going to put on the channel. Watching me, yeah. Well, that's a bit of a waste of time, to be honest. But anyway, you seem to do it pretty regularly, so I appreciate that. Not much for the channel. Won a lot of good stuff, but not much for the channel. That's fair. I was a nice knife from Bill Baggins, who's probably in bed, but really nice knife from Bill. Should look forward to seeing some awesome knife builds from some of you. I don't know who. I was going to show you these. These are pretty nice. I don't know if I've ever showed these on camera. Sorry, my chair's squeaky. I apologise for that. Here's it. These come from Stefan, and they're his design, and they're probably Mark 1s, and he's probably upgraded these quite considerably since then. They've got, what, M4, something like that, M4 cap screw. Holds them all together. There's a little hardened plate like that, which is pretty basic really. It's got a slot through the middle and a hole, and their corners cut off, and then a ledge on one side. It's all nicely finished. And this takes a piece of, I don't know if you can see this, we'll move around a bit so you can. Sorry guys. So this is a bit of, what, 3/16, something like that. 5mm tool, high-speed steel, which is what it takes. And all they have got, really, if you look at them, they're sort of that shape. So it's a block of steel, and this is cut out of the back, and the corner's cut off the front. And then it's got a groove in the side, and it's got a groove there and a groove there, which fits this very nicely. That goes over the edge there nicely. And then it's got a clamping jaw that clamps down there, and then the screw in the middle, which balances the jaw between this part and this part on there where it sits and on the tool. And in the middle of those two has got a screw that goes in. So they're pretty nice. I'm pretty sure that Stefan, if you have a look at his website, probably has drawings to download of these. So they're pretty nice. Got that one and this one. Which are exactly the same. I use them a lot. And being Stefan, they would be exactly the same. Yeah, riding high-speed steel's kind of nice if you've got the gear. That D-bit grinder is an amazing bit of kit. Don't know how I ever lived without it, to be honest. It's a fun machine to do any work on. It's once you sit down at it, though, you'd be prepared to sit there for an hour because you end up doing all sorts of crazy things. And there's always a dozen projects over there. If I sit down there, there's probably 3, 4, 10 pieces to sharpen. And some of them take some nutting out. So I kind of don't mind sharpening high-speed steel. It's quick and easy. But this sort of work, it's a little groove boring bar, oil way boring bar out of carbide. Probably nearly see that profile, I don't know. There we go. I think. And split carbide. It's a pretty nice tool, and it only took me probably 20 minutes, half hour to make up. Special job. So I got some of this out and put it in a pot of boiling water and melted it down a bit so it was runny. I don't know if that's the answer. I probably should mix it with a bit of Kero or something, I reckon. This is good stuff. It makes you smell like a shearing shed. Stops things going rusty. It's stinky. It's thick. It's like inside of a Mars bar, sort of. This is the sort of consistency it is. But it melts down okay, but when you put it on a cold surface, it solidifies straight away, so you can't really wipe it around on a bench top or anything. So maybe if anyone knows what to thin lanolin grease with, I'd be very keen to find out. So there we go, some homework for you. And probably Kero would work, but I haven't actually done that. You can get spray on, that's right, it's very good. That's what they had though, and that's what I got. And I thought, well, rather than go and buy spray on as well, I would just use that. But I've got it in a little tube too that's fairly easy to move on. It's much thinner than that. So that's good stuff, and I put a liberal coating over all my hand wheels on the mill and everything in the table and everything, because I don't know when we're going to get that going. Maybe sooner rather than later, but at this point I haven't really given it a lot of thought. Hey Paul. This is a fun little project, which I did. I don't know. I reckon everyone probably saw these. I'm going to move this over here so you can. Oh crap! You get to see my ugly mug. I'm tired. There we go. We'll move it over here. This looks like this is where we're actually made these up, which are kind of cool. Just heat treat buttons, really. Polished them up and got a bit of colour out of them and stamped on them the temperature. So basically, this one's 260, this one's 295. Somewhere in between there's 220 or 325, which is hot. 230, which is a bit cooler. 275, which is a bright blue. 295, which is a purple nearly. And back to grey at 325. So it's a fun set of buttons. But if you're blue and stuff, it's very useful to know what temperature to go to. So it's pretty cool. I thought it was cool anyway. It was one of the first things I made when I got my heat treaty oven. But yeah. Got another project here that needs finishing, and I got it out the other day because I got this surface plate out, and thought, well, why haven't I finished that? There's really not a lot of work in finishing it. Probably a Saturday. JB from Oz actually laser cut this for me back in the days before I had access to a laser cutter here. It's been a while actually. So I designed this and he cut it. We're not winning there, sorry. I have to move out. There we go. So it's a box basically. It looks like that. These pieces are glued in, they come through the back with keys, and it's sort of that shape on the side. Sort of cutouts in the top here for hinges, which I never ever got yet. Need to find some hinges or make some hinges. JB's busy with stuff. Married a wife and got busy. And that's like that. It needs a clasp or a catch or something on the front, and it needs a couple of hinges on the back. And hopefully if we work it right, that should open like that and stay open, is the idea. Now, this little surface plate actually sits in there like that, which takes up a bit less space. I don't know if it's probably the most accurate way to store a surface plate. Thanks, John. I'll think about that. I wasn't really sure what to do. I was just going to undercoat the inside and give it a coat of light green or machinery green or something a bit industrial or grey. I really hadn't decided what to do with the outside treatment, but that closes up there. And I was going to put a couple of band, like keepers or eyes or something on each side, and then a strap to carry it. So might be very useful if we ever get to the point that we've got to check and lap steam engine valves or anything, Dan. That might be very useful. The trouble is with green felt is that it collects a bit of moisture. I'm really not a huge fan of that. So that's pretty nice. And I've got another plate the same to go on here, or on here probably. Another plate the same to go on here I made up. But yeah, chucking some silica balls isn't a bad idea. I've got a jar full of them. It'd probably be nice to make a little container with a lot of perforated holes in the top, or something to go in here so that they don't they don't all rattle around and get lost and caught under things and scratch things. But that's probably a project that will get finished fairly quickly. And now I've got it out on the bench. I'm not going to put it away until it's done. But might make some proper hinges for there because I don't know if I can buy them. And might either make a decent lock and key or Aspen staple or something on here. Don't know what sort of clasp here. I had thought to put like a cupboard lock in it with with a hook, but I don't think it's really all that practical. I'm not sure. And probably I'll put a D-ring on. I don't know, I really don't know. Don't really want to pick it up by the lid. Didn't think that through. Might be best to put a D-ring here somewhere that folds for the strap, and put that over the top and on the back here on the opposite corner, and that way it's actually picking up off here and it won't tip over, and you've got a shoulder strap for it because it is pretty heavy. It wouldn't hurt to have a shoulder strap on that box. Line it with some thin board so that the lid overlaps a bit. Probably still could, John, but it'd want to be pretty thin. It's not a bad idea. Might have to redesign it and start again. Harmonograph's progress is going along slowly. Messing around with that. I haven't forgotten by any means. I've got one of these done, and the other one is probably here on the bench somewhere. Every chance of it. The other one's nearly finished. Don't know. The other one's nearly finished, so I'll get both of them done before I shoot too much more video. I was thinking I was going to etch a roll letters around the top here. I might still do that. I'm still thinking about that. I really don't know what to put on them, and they're a bit of a dog to etch actually, but we'll think about that. Anyway, get them done. Ordered some more screws. We'll try again with screws for these to screw them down. Got to make some legs and some threaded bolts and things for some plates and some threaded bolts to fasten the legs onto the table. And then probably about all we've really got to do is make the table. So it's looking pretty good. Very handy when you take your surface plate on the bus. It's a test plate, so probably it gets taken from place to place a bit, maybe. Oh, excellent, John. Well, I wonder where the rest of the harmonograph is. I've just about got it finished, but the other one's a bit bigger. The other one looks like this, sort of. It's a 3D printed one, but it sort of looks like that. And I've got the bits here somewhere. Oh, they'll turn up. I reckon I've sat it down somewhere. No idea. Some brass corners wouldn't hurt for it, yeah. Be very nice actually, stop it getting knocked about. We'll see how we go with that. But it's mostly just sheet metal work, not a lot to it. I had every intention early on when I first got this to make some sort of a latch for it. Whether you make, I reckon just like click over set of toolbox latches would probably be plenty good enough with a wire. You just push them over and push them down. But I had thought to make something a bit better than that. I don't know. No idea. And brass would be nice. Anyway, so that's another thing that's here on the bench. Probably should finish and put away and have done, and then it's done. Just by buying a drawer handle. That's right. I bought one and put on the welding bench. I've got one on the drawer of the welding bench now. I painted it to match the welding bench, so I don't think it looks too bad. Yeah. Apart from that, I was digging around in workbench and in drawers and things. I don't know if I found anything that was really newsworthy. I really don't. I probably never, to be honest. I've got these hinges I got. Maybe. No, don't know where they went. I reckon I put them away somewhere. Put them in the box. They're probably in this bag. Yep, they're in this bag. I think these are too big for it. So I've got, I think they're cast stainless steel hinges or sintered stainless steel hinges. I think they're probably a bit sort of ambitious. Some smaller ones of them would probably be really nice on it, but I've already got cutouts, so I probably should make something with the, don't know yet. Don't know, probably I could just put something over the top here like this. Could fill them in. Cut a thin sliver and fill them in before I paint it. And I could put something like that over it, but they're a bit heavy. They look a bit ugly. So keep them for another project. I know that these are available with a smaller end on one side, so only that long on one side, so and a bit smaller too, so they might be really good and solid. Anyway, also got some plastic ones, which come from D Barry. Got two of them. These are polycarbonate or some fancy plastic. They look very ugly, like considerably more ugly than the others. So I might keep them for another project too. That's not doing it for me at all. Probably not too bad once you get used to it, but it's not doing it for me, I don't think. Piano hinge is probably good too. We'll see. Don't know. I'll give it some thought. What else? What else? Don't know really. Another good little cutting tool project might be fun. Got a little rabbit playing. which I must have got years ago with adjustable throat. Don't know who made it. It's a few years old. Probably not a bad plane, or it probably is, I don't know. It's probably really crap, a bit sort of rattly and so forth. Hey Nigel. Poppy's got the right idea. I think brass sheet and tube is probably the answer that I was looking for. So this hasn't got a blade. Don't believe it's ever had a blade since I've owned it. So a little rebate plane blade might be a really cool project too for a video, for a cutting tool. You don't have to look very hard for ideas for a video. Don't know, we'll have a look and see if there's any real clues on the inside of this. Not as such, but it's probably not a very difficult thing to make if you want to make one. That's just a channel basically, cut off at 45 degrees on one end with a boss in it for a screw. And this is sort of similar. It's cast iron, but probably be just as good out of bronze. Piece on each end and a front across it, and a slotted hole to adjust it. And this is pretty poorly made. This has just got these little cast pieces that fit on these. You could make it much nicer than that, so that you don't get this side to side thing happening. Yeah, I'm sure that goes back in there somehow. But all this is, it's just got a couple of divots there, which go under those pins there. So basically, this just goes through and clicks under the pins, and then the screw tightens it all up. Make a blade for it and redo the Japanning. Yes, that's an excellent thought. But it's probably not a huge quality plane to start with. I got this one as well. These come through from Tasmania because at some point I had quite a collection of these sort of things. Got rid of most of the nice things. This is quite a nice plane. It's not adjustable throat, but it's pretty fine in here, so it's capable of some nice work. And that's got some nice cutouts here for the pin. And this one's stamped. It's a Preston. That one has got a cutter iron of sorts. It's probably all right. It'd probably sharpen and clean up all right if you wanted to clean it up. It's been a while since it had an edge on it. This is quite a lower angle than the other one too. This just hooks under there like that, and then do up the screw. That's a really good question. For the tools that I want really sharp, This is a Norton, which is a sort of it's a hard stone. And this one come from our watch parts supplier. It's got some pretty stupid ideas with it. This is not as translucent, but I think it's Arkansas as well. It was marketed as that. I don't think it's an artificial. It probably is an artificial stone, whereas this is natural. Little block like that. But yeah, lots of different stones for lots of different things. This has got a magnetic box, which is a real fool of a thing, to be honest, because it always collects dirt. This one doesn't have an this is a Norton, but this doesn't have a magnetic box, and as such, you tend to lose the lid. What else? This sort of stone is pretty useless. This is labelled as not ground because it's very similar to the precision ground stones that I do have. This is all right, but it's pretty useless for most things. It'd take a fair bit of metal off. Very good for cleaning up concrete steps, but really too coarse for most things, to be honest. Sharpening chisels or anything like that, you do a lot of work, but anything you're going to do with this, you would probably do with a 6-inch grinder a lot quicker. That's my view anyway, so I might be wrong. For high-speed steel, just for polishing the ends, this something like this or like this is probably really nice. You can get a bit of natural stone like that. I'm going to have a bit more of a look. Here you go. These are worth having. Now, these are vintage stones. This is... Get a diamond plate. That's probably the best thing, Easy Lap. And they're cheap enough to throw out if they break or whatever. This is a bit of India oil stone. It's a nice stone, that. I don't know if you can see that. I haven't got enough room here. Sorry, guys. Don't know why this is... Seem to be zoomed a bit different to normal. That's Indian stone, and I think it's a man-made stone, but for sharpening chisels and things, that's probably a pretty good stone. These are razor hones. This is a bit of black, what do they call this? I don't know. It's almost a slate anyway. That's a nice finishing stone. It's quite soft, so it's good for hard material like high-speed steel. That was Dad's. And this is a razor hone. Scruff these if you can find them. This one's a velvet edge. Some of them are very collectible though, so they bring big dollars. Velvet edge, finest quality. They've all come with nice boxes and they are quite collectible, but that's a razor hone. They're usually handmade, Generally, you can flatten these if they've got a bit of a bow in them. If you clamp them between 2 blocks of wood or toss them in hot water, and then when they're hot through, you clamp it between 2 blocks of wood, generally they'll flatten out. They're man-made. But when I was messing with racing axes years ago when, before I put the axe in my foot, I sort of used to mess with racing axes a bit. Messing being the operative word. These were like gold for sharpening racing axes, if you can find them. The Norton one in particular with the oval on them, the black and red Norton one is like, they're like gold. It's one of those things I should have collared at Dad's and never. I don't know what happened to that. For lathe tools, I probably should sharpen things better than I do. I tend to find that I take the burrs off with a razor, with a diamond hone. Have I got one? Yes, I've got a couple of them. I've got no idea where they are. Like an easy lap hone. Let's have a look. Probably guarantee I have about 3 of them kicking around on the bench there somewhere. I'm looking for where it might have been put away, but it'd be just on top of the bench, and I apologise for that. But usually I'll just sharpen stuff and then take the edges off with that. I don't tend to be as fussy as I should be, perhaps. I have a Japanese Waterstone here somewhere too, I think. Fairly big one, a fine grit one, 2000 grit, something like that. Don't know what happened to it. Maybe I gave it away. Find that they don't cut particularly aggressive, and I get a bit impatient with Waterstones. But ideally you want a stone that takes the maximum amount off and still gives you a polish. But that's almost impossible. There's no real compromise. Anyway, that's what's happening here. Not very much, to be honest. And I filled in an hour, which was more than I ever expected. I really appreciate you guys for hanging around and joining in and chatting backwards and forwards and so forth. It's really, really cool to hang out with you. But I'm not particularly organised or got anything going. Next weekend might be different. The next week might be different when I've had time to had a bit of a regroup and spend some time in the workshop again and cleaned up. There is too many results. That's right. There's all sorts of sharpening stones. Absolutely. This stuff's getting expensive now. Like natural Arkansas stone is getting pretty expensive. This bit's probably 50 years old. Got no idea. It's probably 70s. Just by the label on the lid, if I could find the lid. But honestly, this stuff's getting expensive. In some of the watchmaking supply guys, no, this one here isn't a, I don't think this is a natural stone. This bit here. I think it was $35, $40 for that. It's a nice. Eternal Tools tea and biscuit. If you want good stones in the UK, Eternal Tools are pretty good. Don't know how they compare in price now, but eternaltools.co.uk, I bought a lot of stuff off them. That's who ClickSpring uses. If you want nice things, but probably not really your thing. But decent diamond laps you can buy anywhere. They're cheap. They're like $15 each. And you get a range of grits. Diamond laps are the way forward, really. You don't want a big plate, just a little weight diamond lap. To be honest, you can do a lot of polishing and finishing with emery board, like a nail file. It's as good as anything. It's probably surprised you what you can achieve with some bits of stick with some wet and dry glued on them. It really is. But if you're holding the metal nicely to the wheel, or using some sort of a jig or a clamp or something like that, you'll find that you very, very rarely get any excess to take off to finish the edge anyway. Anyway, we're past an hour. I'm going to go and find a cup of tea, I think. Probably go up to bed. Not really feeling it tonight. But thanks, everyone. Thanks for sharing that video that I posted yesterday. Really appreciate that. Anyone who did put it up and share it and say, hey, look, this is what we're going to do. Because it got a lot of views, and hopefully that's gaining some real momentum. I didn't get too many answers back from my email. I got one from Poppy. I think that was it. But it's still early days, and I wasn't really expecting to be flooded with emails. It's just a pain. But be very, very cool if it gets enough momentum that there is a few videos. I think Tip Blitz 2019 had 79 or something, 79 videos, something like that, in the final playlist. So let's see if we can top that. Anyway, I'm out. Take care. Be kind to each other, especially to me, and more next week. Maybe I'll get a video out on the harmonograph before then. So be good and hit the like, all that sort of stuff. Go watch a Ross Knox video, or a Stephen Lang video, or a Tea and Biscuits video, or a Dan Shed video, or anyone else's video, because they're all good stuff. And I'm out. Thanks.